Go ahead.
Are you
Excited? Yeah, I am, Darren. I am.
I know that obviously Kyler played a whole half season last year, so it's not like he hasn't been on the field since the injury and all this stuff. But it feels like everybody talks about him like this is a kind of a brand new start for him. Do you feel that, or do you just feel like this is a continuation?
No, one day at a time. You know what I mean? I'm excited to see him play. You know, he's done a lot this offseason to improve his game, and thought he had a really good camp. But he knows it's, Sundays is where you get measured, so he's ready to go.
What are you going to be focusing on with him on Sunday?
Operation, make the right decisions, take care of the ball, make plays for us.
Considering the guys haven't been able to play much in the preseason, at least the starters, are you concerned about there being any rust in week one?
Not at all.
What do you view as the staples kind of a Sean McDermott coach team?
They're very fundamentally sound. They play extremely hard, and they're smart. So he does a really good job with that team. He's done since he's been there. You look when he was a defensive coordinator, they were always good when he was a defensive coordinator. And since he's been there, they're always in the hunt, man. You know what I mean? So they're a very well-coached team, and he does a good job with them. They play hard. They're very technique sound. They don't beat themselves. They play with great motor. It's a well-coached team. It jumps out on a tape.
Does it feel like the season took a while to get here, or is it one of the things where you
No, it was like, what's that, warp speed, or I don't know. It's just like we started camp yesterday and we're sitting here today. But you got to maximize every day, every second counts. But it's a fun week. We talked to them about week one's a little bit different than all the other weeks. We just got to make sure we channel our energy and emotion into what matters right now, which is they're in meetings and then the practice field.
What makes week one different, Coach?
You haven't played in a while, you know what I mean? So you always have that kind of, I wouldn't say like you got some emotion, you got a little bit of nervousness, you might have some anxiety. Anxiety, I think, has a negative connotation to it, but I don't think it's negative. You're going to have that. I think the most important thing is to know where your mind's at and keep it present on what we need to get done right now. And then, once the fireworks go off and the planes fly by, it's football. So we got to go out there and execute at a high level.
Drew and both Nick mentioned that yesterday, managing that anxiety and adrenaline. Overall, as the head coach, how do you try to manage everyone?
Talk to them about it. I give examples of myself. You know what I mean? So I did that today. You know what I mean? Because all coaches have to do it as well. So. I think it's just keep the main thing, and be present, be where your feet are, and focus on what you need to focus on today. I know we'll be ready to go. I know our emotion will be there. I know we're going to, they'll be ready to play football. But that doesn't matter if you don't do what you need to get done throughout the week to put yourself in a position to win the game. So that's what we're focused on right now.
not letting the extreme emotions affect you, right?
Yeah, as high as the high, as low as the lows.
You kind of stay in that middle ground, especially this week.
Do that. Like people say, well, don't be emotional. That's impossible. You're going to be emotional. You're human, right? I think it's knowing yourself, having enough self-awareness to manage, what you have trouble with, honestly. So with me is different than, Mike Wilson is different than Bilal Nichols, you know what I mean? So everyone's a little bit different that way. I think you got to have really good self-awareness of that, and then make sure that you combat it and you're training your mind to combat it if it can become a negative. So you want to use some of that. It can be positive, but if it becomes negative, then you got to manage it.
How are those emotions different heading into your season opener in year 2 compared to year 1?
Same for me.
You mentioned Monday getting the rush mechanics right.
Yeah.
Playing against a guy like Josh Allen. How difficult is that? Because he's just a guy that doesn't get sacked very much.
Yeah, I think he got sacked the least amount of times last year. That's partly because of his O-line. They played with each other, I think, the whole year. Continuity there. They're good. They're well coached. And then, when you do get in the backfield a little bit, he's got the ability to extend plays, make you miss, run away from you, run through you. So we just got to be on it. That's knowing your opponent. That's going to be a big-time challenge for us, so we have to do well if we're going to win a game.
For the rookies playing in their first regular season game, what sort of advice would you give them, those rookies you're counting out on Sunday?
It's just football. Take a deep breath. Play the game.
You mentioned the play extension from Josh Allen. Is there something that you could practice here that will help come Sunday for that play extension? Or
Yeah.
is it just trusting your instinct?
Yeah, I think Clayton and Dez will do a good job for us. You know, they're both mobile guys, and we got a few things that we're gonna do in practice to make sure we're on point with that. But you know, there's always the element of, you know, game day is a little bit different than the practice field, but we'll try to mimic as much as we can so our guys are ready.
We talked to Kaiser the other day about how, you know, it's hard to avoid what the outside noise is saying about them just because social media and phones and everything. How do you feel about guys hearing that, reading it, but then channeling it as kind of like
They're pros. They'll block out what they need to block out. I'm not on social media. I don't use my phone. I got an iPhone too, Danny. So I don't even know if I get that feed, but you know, I good or bad, really not worried about opinions of others. But with saying that, we got to go out and play.
How do you see the offense, the Bills' offense, changing at all without a guy like Diggs on the roster now?
Well, I mean, they reloaded, so I mean, I'm sure it'll be a little bit different. But Steph was a really good player, but they got really good players. You know, they got 2 good tight ends, they got a couple good receivers, good back, good O-line, quarterback makes it go. So we'll have our hands full.
Got some big body guys now, wide receiver.
Yeah,
You guys
they
do as well. Does that help in preparation?
Yeah, maybe a little bit, Bo. I mean, you know, you gotta each week you kind of gotta reset yourself, study as much as you can. You know, like Keon, the rookie there, right? You know, you go through and watch a little bit of college tape, watch preseason tape, whatever. But those are some unknowns. You know what I mean? Without a bunch of tape to study and watch, but. Ultimately, you know, we got to play with good technique. We got to know what's going on. We got to play sound and execute, and that's what it comes down to.
How was Weaver doing?
Not going to go today. Still kind of battling this oblique.
Coach, they consider their defensive front seven a strength, their offensive line a strength. Do you anticipate that being just a battle of trenches then Sunday?
Yeah, I think it's a strength of ours, so it'll be good on good.
Do you have any other injuries of note?
You'll see it when it comes out, Teo. That's how we normally do it, but no, everybody's ready to go, besides Zave.
How many games do teams need to kind of get an idea of what other teams are doing?
Everybody's a little bit different. You know what I mean? I always say, you know, kind of that first month is kind of a feeling out process, more so of yourself, but then the opponent as well.
You talked the other day about there's more leaders in the room than just the captains. Kaiser said the same thing and talked about leading by example. Just generally as a head coach, guys that lead by example, guys that talk a lot. Is there an important balance there in how guys approach that?
No, I think the main thing is to be genuine by who you are. So, you know, leadership comes in a lot of different, you know, ways. I think it's to be authentic and genuine by what you feel in your heart and in your brain and in your gut, you know, to do those things that come natural for you. So everybody's different, and we got a lot of different leadership styles in there, which is really cool to me. And it's fun to watch those guys, you know, be team first guys and bring each other along.
Is your personal mindset any different with a year of experience under your belt heading into week one?
No.
People around Marv talk a lot about his work ethic, his intelligence. How have you seen those two things manifest themselves since you started working with him a few months ago?
Well, I would say that's what I've been most impressed about is what he does off the field, how he prepares, how he gets ready to play, the extra time that he puts in. You know, he's a very mature, serious person, which again, we kind of knew that when we drafted him, but that's come to fruition. I'm excited to see him play. He's ready to go.
What impact does that have on a guy who's that mature on those levels?
Your dealings with him is all football. There's no distractions.
What do you want to see out of practice this week? What changes this week versus week?
Really nothing changes. I want to see execution. We maximize every rep. Every minute we're on that practice field, we got to maximize it. Every second counts, and we got to put the work in to make sure that we set ourselves up to have a chance to win. Okay. Thanks, guys.